All right, Falcon. Falcon's not here, but we'll go ahead and cover his game anyway. This is the Podvoisky, the Tier 5 Russian destroyer. And you're using main armaments, engine room protection, and main battery firing or modification 2. I like this because the lower tier Russian destroyers have terrible turret traverse. So this is a good idea. This is a good idea. As you can see, it's 14 seconds to turn from one side to the next. No, 180 degrees. And so if you're going all 270 degrees, it's almost double that. So you're talking about a long time. For your captain, I know from a game you were in earlier that you're using Kuznetsov. I have no idea why, but you are. So you've got Grease the Gears, which is helpful to get those turrets to turn. You've got Demolition Expert, Main Battery and Anti-Air Specialist for extra main battery reload. And then you've also got Main Battery Range, Preventative Maintenance to protect the guns and the engines. Let's see, and then you go to Adrenaline Rush, Survivability Expert, and then you finish off with Fearless Brawler. So you kind of went full gunboat build.
No last stand in that ship is
yeah, I was just fixing to mention
questionable.
that. I might have...
Also,
go ahead.
the concealment is actually quite good, so I would spec it. I would imagine that is not actually a Podvoisky captain, but a captain he's just using to get through to probably the Delny, is my guess.
Probably.
Like that doesn't look like a spec for a Podvoisky.
I mean, you know, you're right that the base concealment is low. The problem with the Podvoisky is the torpedoes only reach 4, so a lot of people, you know, aren't interested in their concealment if their torpedoes aren't close enough, right, to where they can stealth torp or whatever. I know you can surprise people around islands and stuff. That is definitely a thing. So I might have dropped Demolition Expert in favor of Last Stand, or alternately maybe drop Survivability Expert to get Last Stand and then pick up something else. This one's not going to help you.
I just dropped the 1% fire chance. It's like...
yeah.
The skill is just overpriced for 2 points.
I know, we talked about that before, so this might be your better choice. Okay. And then let's take a look at your flags. You're running all flags, anti-det, fire, and flood chances, okay? As Gwenti was mentioning, it's a 1% chance with 2-point commander skill, and you get 2 flags that bump it up to twice that. So it's like, go for these.
No, not twice. It's low caliber.
Oh, I'm sorry.
2 flags
it's yeah, because they're under 160s. Like... yeah, it's still worth. And then you go with Sierra Mike for ship speed, consumables, yep, and then you've got anti-air, smoke generator. Okay. Alternately, fire extinguishing is a good choice as well. The less that you're on fire, the less that you're going to be spotted. Okay. Well, let's take a look at our replay, since I could find the right source to mute. There we go.
So it's a very weird ship. It's super fast. Like faster than the one before than after it, but the range on the guns is so low.
Yeah, well, that's why you can see he went with the gun range as well. And Toshkin says Last Stand and Survivability Expert are basically mandatory on almost all destroyers. I agree. But yeah, if you're going to be playing especially more long range with your guns, then yeah, there's no need to worry about concealment as much. Matter of fact, sometimes that gets you into more trouble, right? Because you think that you're safe, you run into somebody that could just clobber you.
It's just a weird ship. Like, it never clicked with me when it got introduced in the line. Like...
all right.
It's kind of the same weird thing like an Ognivoy, but different. Like, you'd expect to be the long-range gunboating thing, and this just isn't.
Right. Absolutely. So let's take a look at the matchmaking. This is a Q dump because it's a smaller team. And you are bottom tier. No carriers. No battleships even. Wow. Just a lone sub. Huh. Okay.
It's not even really bottom tier, it's just 6 and 5, right?
Yeah, well, I still consider that bottom tier because he's 5, but yeah.
I was looking for tier 7s when you said bottom tier, but they're not.
Oh.
It's weird. Must have been maybe late night matchmaking, something like this.
Yeah, yeah. Now he's in Europe.
It ought to have a cute dump for that tier.
I know he's in Europe, but I know he plays on the North American server, so I would not be surprised if he was playing early morning EU time.
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
I want to highlight something. Yahagi here, I think AP might actually work. It's far range, but it's Yahagi.
Might.
Yeah, might is the operative word. I see you thought the same thing, Falcon. Wait, stop. Look at his smokestack. He's already fixing to reverse here. He's already fixing reverse. This is perfect for you because you can just keep farming him. If I were you, I would reverse and pop the engine boost to reverse, kind of slow down and reverse quicker. You're about to get behind this island. And just like that, you lost your opportunity to really test out those shells. Also, there's a guppy in A, and that would be a better target for you now anyways. Now, if you're going to open water gunboat, typically you want your engine boost active. It just makes it easier for you to dodge stuff, and there's a sub over here. Kochlet is near you. That's what those torpedoes were. So you should already be thinking about kiting away. There's the
I think
Kochlet.
with the speed boost, I think the ship goes like, look at the speed right now, even without the speed boost, it's like 43, 44 knots.
Mm-hmm.
Most people at this tier, like, they will just not lead enough if you're so fast.
Right. So I'm seeing a lot of uncertainty about targets here. I feel like you're trying to make too much happen. You're switching to AP a lot, which you've probably seen me or other streamers do. But the difference is you're not able to take advantage of the opportunities given so far to do that. So I would just sit with HE and get comfortable focusing more on finding ways to get your shells to hit and maximize your damage, your DPS if you want to, and then feel free to experiment with, using AP and stuff.
Yeah, I would either try to focus down one ship,
yeah,
or you try to spread your fires out on all the ships that are.
Right.
Probably go for the cruiser here because it's kind of the most dangerous thing for you.
Yep. And you actually had a chance to AP it too, but you did not take that opportunity.
You had to pop the DCP because no last stand.
Right.
Although you were probably far enough away, so I would have maybe just waited and you could have just gone dark.
In case you get set on fire, then DCP.
Yeah.
Also, here I would be looking at the Gepard or the Guppy. 1 is closer, 2 it's a destroyer, so in my opinion that's a bigger threat. 3, most importantly, by looking at the Guppy and shooting him, it actually helps you to dodge the Devonshire because he's farther along.
Yeah. I would have just not shot there. Like, you don't have last stand. You used your DCP because your engine went out, and this is where you're vulnerable while your DCP is still on cooldown. Like, if you use your engine again during that time,
sure,
you're a sitting duck.
Well, that's true. Now he does have the ability to smoke if that happens.
Yeah,
so
but
there's at least that.
He can't stop immediately in smoke because without the engine, his slowdown will be very slow too.
Right.
I'd
You
rather
would,
take this time, wait till my DCP is ready again, and then start shooting again.
right. You would need to basically, if you were to smoke, you would need to keep the smoke between him and the Guppy and the Devonshire at this point.
Or he uses a DCP and smokes right away and farms.
Mm-hmm.
Also possible, although it's maybe a bit dangerous with the sub being here and the Gepard charging.
So this is a good use of smoke
wanna
here.
sit in smoke.
Right, I agree. You don't want to sit in the smoke, but he's staying behind it, and he's doing now what we said not to do, which is sitting in the smoke, and he's also firing AP. Luckily, the Guppy dies. But so the problem with sitting in smoke, you don't have to worry about torpedoes right now. What you do have to worry about is the Cachalot pinging you, because he can just ping along the surface. And if he hits you with those with that ping, those torpedoes can home in. Crimson! You're right, he is bouncing a lot back and forth with targets. Also, you're... Oh, see, there it is. There's the ping. And now you've got torpedoes coming your way. I mean, you're fast enough you can probably outrun them, but why run the risk of taking those torps? Now you're back on the Ahagi. You don't have a shot in the Devonshire, so that makes sense. But I'd be looking to get a shot on the Devonshire next. See, there you go. Citadel on the Ahagi. See, so AP on the Ahagi is good. The Ahagi is just such a low-armored cruiser. You had a really good opportunity at the start, but unfortunately the island prevented you from taking advantage of that. Alright, see, Crimson, you have just had the Zath experience. The Zath experience is where I say something, and just moments later, I'm contradicted by what happens in the replay.
The problem is with his switching, like, yeah, you can Citadel Yahagi even at that distance, but if the Yahagi turns, it's also very easy for you to just bounce the shell and don't deal any damage at all. So I'm not even sure if it's worth the risk. Like, the damage you potentially gain from a Citadel versus the potential damage loss if you were just shooting HE, I don't think it's worth it.
The only time I would do it is in that initial spot of the Ahaki when he was broadside and reversing. Then you absolutely switch to AP and slap him off the board. The only other time maybe was when the Devonshire was making that game return, but that's it. After that, forget it. Oh, it's Khaleesi. She used to be a super tester, if I remember right.
Also here, why switch to AP against a destroyer? That makes no sense.
I was about to say the same thing. I mean, I understand AP gives you more guaranteed damage when a destroyer is low. Well, even overpens are still doing 10% guaranteed.
But it's less than an HE pen, and you're penning everything on the Farragut.
Well, again, you're not letting me finish with the discussion. Is if a ship is half to full health, HE is better because there's no saturation, right? Like, as that destroyer takes more damage, it gets more and more saturated. It takes less HE damage.
But even a saturated HE shell deals 16% of the damage versus 10% damage of an AP overpen. And if you look at the shell damage, then
it's not much.
I'm just looking up. I don't want to pull on the regular. The HE damage is 1900, so and the AP is 2500. So it's like 250 on an AP overpen,
right?
Versus.
Actually really close then.
Versus 316 on an HE saturation hit.
Yeah, so HE is just a better choice. Also, you're aiming way too high. Well, and that's the other part of it too, Crimson. Right, is that with HE you're knocking modules out too. You're breaking engines, you're breaking torpedo tubes.
I mean, to be fair, he knocked out he killed the torpedo tube with the AP shell too.
I know, I saw that. Again, what I say is contradicted by the replay.
But you need the direct hit,
Mm-hmm.
whereas you have the splash damage on the HE. So
Mm-hmm.
you're right. With HE, your chances of knocking something out are much higher.
Matthew is also correct. A German destroyer AP is usually the better choice.
That depends on the tier, though.
Right.
If you look at the higher tiers and you have a slight angle, you will arm it. But if you look at tier 5, tier 6, the AP shells will pretty much never arm because the armor is too thin. Like, by the time they are angled enough to arm the shell, they are in outer bonds range.
We take a moment and also highlight that, like, the entire team is kited away off the map. Literally.
Enemy has all the caps. This is kind of fascinating, but they are losing still. Somehow.
Well, yeah, they're losing because they don't have any caps. 650 on the enemy team to 520 on his team. Farragut has left the area. He doesn't even want to fight you. This is funny. Now's when you put your engine boost on and chase him down.
I probably wouldn't even chase him down. I would just go straight for the...
decap?
Yeah, it's D.
You could do that.
Because it's unlikely that the Farragut will try to defend this.
Especially with the Nuremberg following. Sure.
And you kind of need to stop the bleeding.
Mm-hmm. Engine boost now. Engine boost now. You got the cap. There's no reason to wait. He's looking for a shot on the Farragut.
I mean, that's not wrong to look in that direction and hope he can get a shot.
Sure. But, I mean, at the same time, engine boost gets you into the cap quicker, around that cap quicker, up to C quicker, you know, like... I still can't believe how crazy this match is. You're still down on ships. They have 3 you have 6 ships, they have 3. And yet yay teamwork. Yeah, there you go, Crimson.
I would not go so close to the islands here. I would leave myself a little bit more room.
And why is that, sir?
Just for potential torpedoes that are coming.
So that's one thing you have to be concerned of, is the Farragut could have... I mean, they know you're coming this direction. The nice thing is that the Nuremberg went up the channel. But the problem is, last known location of the Farragut is coming back towards you. So you have to decide, are you going to take that fight with the Farragut, or are you not? Now you're asking for support from the Nuremberg. I guess the big question is that Nuremberg understanding of what support you're asking for? Looks like it, because they're coming this way at least. Yeah, that's definitely the Casil I remember. Or Khaleesi I remember.
Why did you stop shooting there?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, why did he stop shooting there?
I mean, at that point, he had to have known he was going down. I think the problem is that you rushed that engagement. You didn't wait for your Nuremberg to come around and help. You actually broke concealment. You were concealed and able to control when you were detected and when you weren't.
His first shot was too late. He could have had a clean shot on the Farragut while he's still behind the island without getting detected.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, like, I think he lost his engagement mainly because his aiming was not good.
Well, and also because
like it could be replay bug, but it looked like on a lot of shells, not in just in this engagement, but in others too, he was aiming too high and too far forward.
He was definitely aiming too high, no doubt about that. Um, but also, Khaleesi's aim was spot on. I mean, even with engine boost active, you were talking earlier about how difficult it is for people to hit ships that are moving, you know, that particular ship, right, moving at near full speed. And she just whacked him. I don't think he was expecting that.
I mean, if it's a good player or an experienced player, they know how fast a Podvoisky can go.
That's what I mean. Right. That's an experienced player. Also, the other person I saw was Devonshire on the enemy team. Had a QCN clan tech, so you'd expect them to be a good player as well.
But I think this is a win now because
Oh, yeah.
like you got all the caps back and the enemy team is left with that Yahagi and a battleship. There's no way they're gonna get all the caps back, right?
Let's find out. But I think the key is that Nuremberg going up the channel and then coming to C-Cap and just basically putting himself in a position to just whack everybody. And it's odd to say that Nuremberg is the reason you won the game because it's a Nuremberg, but...
Wow.
Ada dies to the Yahagi. Nuremberg is doing the right thing here, kiting away, although I think he needs to slow down and stay on the cap. What the heck is your McCoyan doing?
Oh no. Number got reset last second.
Yep.
It's kinda unfortunate.
And that's what I meant about slowing down and stopping here. Now, this is Falcon's view, so if anybody's getting sick, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
Jump just between the ships, right?
I can't afterwards, but
No,
as
I
a
mean,
player after he's dead, yes, he can. Using the I think it's a shift button or even left click maybe. All right, well, hey, the McCoyan finally got into the game, and now that should be a GG. Nuremberg turns around, gets into the cap. Yahagi goes, or yeah, Yahagi goes down. Ocelot comes back up to the surface, or periscope depth, and Yahagi's got Hydro running. Now, Falcon, had you stopped and took advantage of that opportunity to smack him with AP, that Yahagi, this game would be over already. But other comments that people made, and I would make them too. Focus on one target. Don't go back and forth so much. Focus on one armor type or shell type. There's no need to, you know, try and look like a pro and keep going back and forth. You only had a couple really good AP opportunities in this entire match, but you spent most of it shooting AP.
And practice the aiming, although I'm not sure how you would practice it.
That's just experience, right? That's just time. Casual tea drinker, what's up?
Hello, how you guys?
Fine, fine. So we're looking at a Podvoisky replay right now. Oh, let me back this up. Let me back this up a little bit.
We'll look, see what
So,
happens.
right about here, this is your initial engagement with the Yahagi. As soon as you spot the Yahagi and he's stopping there, this is a really good opportunity to slow down and observe. And if he shoots you, you can smoke, or you can just go behind the island. You have a lot of protection right there. You have a lot of options. And you can smack him with AP right here. And you can see he started to reverse even, so you had a really good opportunity to just do tons of damage to him. Instead, you only had time for one shot. And then after that, you kept moving. Maybe that's another thing to think about too. You don't have to be moving around at full speed all the time. Look at you wiggling. So this is the part where you're forced to just keep running back.
Honestly, like his going full speed has probably also to do with the build with no last stand.
Mhm.
If you try to throttle juke and be slow a lot and then you get your engine knocked out, it's really hard to get going again. If you're
Mhm.
already at full speed, it's much easier because you retain some of the energy.
Mhm. Also, nice job being a good sport, Falcon, and comping somebody who killed you. I agree, Crimson. It is very fun to change shells and speeds and watch shells go by and everything. Absolutely.
I can't do the speed chuckling thing. I always do it wrong. I always get smacked because the people are either very good at predicting or are so bad at aiming that I dodge into their shells.
Mhm.
I'm a master at that.
Mhm.
You have pain when that happens?
All right. Well, Falcon, thanks for sending that one in. All right.